well. So this is cool.
Oh, that's nice. I thought like, what's that in the right corner? Now I get it.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah, we're live.
Yep, works. Jussy, do you have like some news or something that you're expecting for later, or you
Yeah,
don't?
give me time. I accumulate the news.
Okay, that's cool.
My goodness, Jesse, you have a newborn baby? The way you asked it is as if he's waiting for someone to be born.
Yeah, so actually today I really got a bit cooked, honestly. Like I guess I went in like today morning European time. I guess I went in even a bit short, I think, and then like the price only pumped from there.
Let's see. Yeah, price action is brutal.
Yeah, it pumped and now it looks like it's coming down again, right?
Let's take a look. So what does Jesse think? Last time he brought me underwater for, for quite a decent sized position, but I think this time it'll be saving grace.
But you have made money, right?
Yeah, I closed in time.
Yeah, I think if you close the position in time, like, or like in like in my history with Defituna, I always had like the chance to close the position in profits. But then of course it's like you open it for a bit longer, and then of course you risk a bit more that the price action will go in the wrong direction because you want like more yield and like these 5-10%.
Yeah, I do hope that we have something aggressive to the downside and then do end up ranging in this 210 and or at least this kind of range would be nice.
Yeah.
Which range is it? Like I have really bad eyes.
One, like where we are to 180, like 180s.
Okay. Yep.
Although it just looks like it's about to take a dump, and I just don't like it. I mean, I have PTSDs with anything to do with like big listings. You know, CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. When that happened with Bitcoin, oh my goodness, we dumped so hard. I think it was 2018. Most brutal season that I remember, by far the most painful. The COVID one was quick. I mean, it was scary but quick. You know, was anyone trading on BitMEX at the time? No.
No, nope. I think Moty, this question is for you about the calculator.
Read out the question. I think it'll be easier.
When does the calculator go live?
Oh, sorry. I just didn't see.
Yeah, we are publicly advertising. Anyone who wants to use the calculator, you can go on dev.defituna.com. So that is dev.defituna.com. It's like our developer environment. Everything here is safe to use functions, but we are actively modifying and adding some small things. Give you an example. If you guys see my screen, Jesse or Fabiano.
Yeah, works.
You know, this leverage feature here, or even if we go ahead and we try to open a position and we add leverage, we are greeted with interest rate, or it shows how much you'll pay for leverage in 24 hours. And it changes. So if you fully borrow USDC, you know, I'm taking 100% USDC leverage, I'll pay 58 cents. It gives you a big, like sort of a clarity on the expense, like how much you're going to be paying.
What is cheaper at the moment?
So 58 cents and 59 cents. It's pretty much the same.
Okay.
And that's because the utilization is probably very, very similar. So that's why it's pretty much the same. We thought it would be a nice feature to add for transparency reasons. People don't know what APR means in percentage values. You're like, okay, what is what does that mean to pay 20% APR? You know, like
Mm.
how much is it? Is it like much? Is it little? And so we thought, you know, if you press, you get the APR percent, which is 23%, 23.7. It's annualized, right? But then we break it down. We divide it 365 days. It's per day how much you have here. At 0.06% per day, it is 29 cents because I'm borrowing 3.4.
That's really helpful. I was always using like some calculator I found in the internet.
So yeah, we don't want people taking napkins and making math on a napkin. So that's why we made it this way.
Also,
Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
just saw the chart, and this 15 minutes candle looks like so wild. The range from this 15-minute candle is like from 132 to almost 128.
What is it, Darth Vader candle? They call it.
Yeah, more or less.
My goodness.
That's
The
What
rates
happened?
just came out.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe.
They're keeping interest rates on hold.
Okay.
So it's unchanged. Remains at 4.25 to 4.5. So I think it's pretty good. Them staying unchanged is probably overall a good thing. I think the market will probably respond decently to that.
What does that mean for, I wonder, for volume on chain? If we go on Bird's Eye, does that show the last 24 hours? It probably won't, right? My goodness.
Yeah,
We can use analytics. Artemis dashboard. You can look at Dune, stuff like that. Let me look.
180 million, but I don't know what it was before, so it's very hard to say. I wonder how much volume went into this candle. Oh wait,
Yeah.
isn't this? That's right, Solana USDC.
It's a huge one.
Can somebody check? Last hour, what did we have for volume?
I can try to find it out.
If you look at the top daily transactions across all blockchains, it's actually insane. Solana has more than every other blockchain combined.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And if you look at, that's just the top daily transactions. If you look at the active ones, it's still number one, not quite all combined, but still it's, yeah.
You can see these stats on Artemis, right?
Yeah, Artemis terminal is really good. Let me post it in our chat. You can go there if you want. It's really good. Dude, like the UI on Artemis is just way better than Dune. Like Dune's good, but their UI is just not good.
There's like what is it called? Like token terminal or something like this. They also have like good stats, but like
Artemis terminal.
Often like some parts are missing. And I mean DeFi Llama is also like it's not as good anymore.
My goodness, by far dominant.
Yeah, you can see the index benchmark down there as well. There's a few different things.
Yep. So last 24 hours, I think like 5-6 millions daily active address and transactions around 90 million, I think. It's crazy. Oh yeah, 92 million transactions last 24 hours.
The fees have been printing on Solana USDC pair. I think that one's been by far the most consistent for liquidity providers. Regardless where you go, if you go up or down, I think that one was just juicy throughout. GLP one isn't printing so much. It's very hard to really tell where it's going either. There's a lot of liquidity over on 4.3, 4.4 area, I guess. I wonder why.
This is JLP, right?
Yeah, GLP slash USDC.
But JLP is also a bit down, I think, right?
Yeah.
In relation to Sol or in relation to USDC? I think it's up in relation to like. USDC.
It would be up in relation to USDC for the simple reason that GLP is composed of two stables.
Right.
So
Mm.
any drop would be 50% of that what you'd experience with Solana. It's essentially owning fees that are happening on their preps, which is actually kind of a nice hedge.
Yeah.
I do want to touch
JLP's
up,
up today.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to touch up on one subject which was very interesting. 2 months ago in our community, a lot of people requested for us to add Bitcoin/USDC pair because, you know, providing liquidity on Bitcoin is never good because you don't have a hedge, and if it goes all the way up, then you don't really profit so much from it. So it was like a pretty bad deal for liquidity providers. We decided to list it, and we worked quite actively with our community. And Orca, since we're listing Orca pools, it was 400,000 TVL when we started. And at this stage, we are seeing 6.12 million TVL on the USDC pair. You know, we thought about it like internally because we received so many requests. There's obviously demand. And we thought, well, if there's demand, then what is wrong? And, you know, we dug deep and we tried to provide liquidity on some of the other CLMMs. And the downside is brutal when you're farming liquidity with anything that is speculative, right? And what I mean by speculative is like, you know, Bitcoin Solana is very easy because if they both go to the upside, then you're benefiting from both of them, right? You're either in Solana or Bitcoin, it's fine. But it's not so with the USDC pair because you don't want to be not exposed to the USDC, but also, you know, like if it falls, then you're losing dollar value because you're in Bitcoins. But if it appreciates, then you're not really capturing the profit that you normally would by holding. And I think that this was a really good case study for what our product is capable of. For the simple reason that, you know, people who are using us, they were able to farm liquidity quite comfortably with quite predictable rates and outcomes. And we've done 10x.
I never tried it, to be
TVL.
honest. Like EV Bitcoin, USDC. Never tried it so far. What is like the yield you get there? Like, let's say you go like maybe 2x leverage, or like so people maybe can assume
Right,
of
so
what.
You're looking at the yield on BTC and USDC.
Yeah.
Which
it's
way
not too
we want
bad.
to go? One neutral. So
It's
let's
like,
go. Which range do you want to do? So $200 is obviously not very interesting to farm with. So like, what would be the size that you'd be looking for, Jussy or Fabiano?
let's say 5K or so to start.
Like 5K, but obviously, like, you know, you're looking at 1.27% at relatively big range. I mean, how much is Bitcoin ranging right now? Let's take a look. So
it's always like 80, 81 to 84, 85, I think. I don't know how much this is in percentage.
It's been between 84 and 82 for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, if you're farming this range, you could have done pretty well for yourself. Now, obviously, the downside is scary, but it's been pretty much ranging here, 82 to 84. So like 84.
It's basically 2.5% on the downside.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. Now it went away from that range. So, you know, like if we amplified, say, like 3.5, and if we went long, for example, right? Oh, because that's wrong, right? It would be more something like this for a long position. So like if we spent, say, you know, so how long would it take for us to get to 10%? That'll be 500 yield that we're looking for, and not profit. definitely more than a day. I think 2 days
More
would
than
be
a-
it,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
Yeah, around 2 days.
okay. Yeah, I mean that's
Seems pretty
actually still
good.
possible. Yeah, I want to say it's actually possible if you look at the last few days or even weeks. I wouldn't be like, I don't think I would be bullish, but like I would go something between 81, 85. It was actually like the last few days. Uh,
I did find much more edge on the Solana USDC pair for myself, but there's also
Mm.
way more fees on the Solana USDC pair. It's just
Yeah.
easier to farm profitably. Um,
And I mean the difference, I just saw it like a few days ago, the difference between the traded volume on Sol USDC and Ethereum USDC is actually crazy.
yeah,
Like,
no,
what's
it's
the
much more
difference?
profitable. Look at this, token guy. I mean, you're farming 12 hours in this pair, right? For 12 hours, you're
Mhm.
making your, that's 1%. So how long would it take? We said, what kind of range do we have on the Bitcoin to the left side and to the right side? What did we put
It's
there?
like roughly 2.5
2.5.
for
Let's
Bitcoin.
so let's compare. Like if I was to put 2.5 in this here, Solana USDC more or less, right? Like this. This is annoying. We need to add configs. And we farmed 12, so like 2 days, right? On the Bitcoin one we farmed.
Mm.
Yeah, easily. That's neutral. But for 2 days you'd be almost making 10%. You're almost there.
You're saying the
Somewhere
Bitcoin
like,
is higher?
looks like it.
I mean, you're doing the whenever I look at like comparing yields, I usually don't do the same range. I do what I compare is the range that it's been in, right? So like I would look at Solana USDC and I would look at the past 5 days or the week and what's the range been. And then
Mm.
like so I'm not worried about the percentage because like to me, if I can go a wider percentage on one of these and earn the same amount, or a little bit less, I'll still do that if it means that like I'll stay within range, right? So I'm comparing, okay, what are the 2 5-day ranges? And then I set both of those up. One may be 3 or 4% on either side. One may be 2 or 3% on either side. And then I see which one's going to yield the most. And I go with that. But I mean, it honestly looks like you would probably have to go wider on Solana than 2.5%, right? So like Solana actually looked like it was showing a higher yield, but I think you would have to
Yeah,
go
it looks
wider
like it.
to get the
It,
same
it does
results.
look like it. I think previously what I was looking at actually is the appreciation in the directional buys. So that's why it looked better.
You
It
were also
looks
at a
like
0.67 long on Sol USDC before, and now you're on a 100 long. You did a
yeah.
3x.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think with Sol USDC, it's like if you really go like a tight range, it's pretty hard to stay in range these days.
yeah. No, Sol definitely does give you more. It looks like.
It
I
does.
mean,
It's just that you have to go wider, I think, on Sol USDC, and so whenever you do go wider, I think it ends up being similar.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like whenever I'm looking at them, I'm comparing the two. So like Sol, for example, let me look here.
so if we go on for example Bitcoin here, right, and we look on the
Compare the
4
two.
hour, and then we have like a Solana pair which is here, USDC. Then
Do
here
that.
we go also on the 4 hours, right? And then we draw a range. You said 2%, right? Or sorry, no.
Well, just whatever the range is,
So
based on the time frame.
so if we're talking about like 4 hours chart here, so you want me to go all the way up and all the way down like this?
Yep. Yeah. What's the percent there?
13%.
Okay, so you're looking at 6.5% either way. That's if you're like absolute But on BTC, you'd go up higher on that. Go up one more. You wouldn't do that with that one bottom dip. You'd go the next support. Or no, sorry, down.
Lower there.
Yeah,
This?
yeah. No, like to the next one. Let me see, because we're looking at, if I'm looking at the date here of this, let me see. Sorry.
It's 11th
Yeah,
of March.
you're going back. Yeah, you're going back too far on Bitcoin. Bring it down to the next level. Yeah, right there. Yeah, there. See, so I mean, this makes sense, right? That there's a tighter range on BTC. It's actually, you'd actually go even tighter because you're all the way down at the very bottom of that wick. You need to pull up the bottoms as well.
Yeah, there's
There you
less
go.
volatility on Bitcoin than there was on Solana.
Exactly. Yeah. So like whenever you do this, you would do I would compare it 4% on either side on Bitcoin and 6.5% either side on Solana USDC. And then I would compare those two because this is roughly the range that it's been in. And so it's like, okay, if I don't want to just compare percentages, I want to compare the actual range that it's staying within and then go from there. And so if I'm doing 4%,
what is it?
BTC.
Like 1 week or how many days?
This
Like-
is a week.
Since
Yeah.
the 11th, a week. Let's actually see. So if we go 136 and 120, right? 120, 136. We do a range like this. This basically is what where we're at. So like if I did like 0 and 7 days in range, and I took a position of say like, I don't know, $10,000, and it was spot, right? Like no leverage whatsoever. And we did, that's 3%. That's not very good as well. But if you're long anyway, I mean, if you're long, you wouldn't really be farming it like that. You'd be farming it with leverage, definitely. So you'd be making on a it's a 7.69% to the downside and 4.62 to the upside. $371 if you exited. But that's not okay, 1 second. I understand what happened. 136. Yeah, so we don't have a bar ratio because we're just entering with our funds and they get distributed.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're using past data, but then you're setting up a long position. And so if we actually assumed we would be setting up the position based on past data, you'd actually be doing a short because that's what it's currently sitting in. So you're using, so that's why it's showing offset. If you did short, you'd see much higher than the 3%. But if we wanted to assume that it was going to do a similar percentage, but in the opposite direction, because our TA is telling us it's going up, I would just move those percentages down at the bottom to 4.5 on the lower side and 7.5 on the high side. And then you can leave it on the long position. And then we can get an idea of what that would look like, right? If you were trying to like emulate it going up from here, or if you just want to keep it within the range, we could just set it at a delta neutral where you have it now, either way.
So the way I would look at it is, okay, if the macro is bullish, but I still don't know whether it's going to break out now or later, then what I would do is I definitely would do like something like, like this. I'd borrow more dollars. I'll put the dollars in, and look how much it actually changes profitability. Now, if you're thinking, well, you know what, this is just short-lived. I don't know when, but it will break down. But I want to just capture this range. Then you'd be doing like more borrowing towards the Solana, and then you're profiting more to the downside.
Absolutely.
And that's sort of the play here. I mean, Fabiano would probably do something like this.
Yeah.
Knowing him. Right.
Yeah,
So,
indeed.
You short and Sol, Fabiano?
No, not shorting, but just go full leverage always. But
oh, I see. I got you.
At the moment, I guess we will go down a little bit, at least. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
yeah, I mean, I like to stay close to delta neutral. What I've been doing on DeFi is having a slight directional bias based on like kind of what I'm seeing, but like that way I'm not penalized too hard if I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I get a little bit of the benefit, you know? So like I'm normally at like a 0.6 long or a 0.4 short, just outside of delta neutral. That's kind of what I've been doing. If, you know, there was automation or something on it, then like I would just always be 100% delta neutral. But because I'm manually having to do all this, then like, you know, the TA and setting all of it up and closing it when I need to, I like having a slight directional bias. In 3 days is kind of what I'm looking for. But also another interesting thought is like, I'll set up my lower limit and upper limits inside of my range.
Okay.
And the reason why I do that is because like I'm spreading out my liquidity to like reduce the impact of impermanent loss, but I actually don't want as wide of a range as I'm actually putting in it, right? So like if you were to like set your limit inside, so like reduce the time that you're in this pool to like 1 day.
Okay.
For an example.
Oh, definitely not that. There we go.
1 day. So see how like you've set up a range, but like if it goes to the end of your ranges, you're not profitable. What if I just closed it out before I got to the loss? What if I closed it out right at the end of that, right? And so I could say like my goal is to stay within, you know, however many days, but if it does move with outside of that range, maybe I want it to close out so that I can set up a new pool now that it's moved to like a lower range. You see what I'm saying? So like you could set it up to where, okay, I know within 1 day I'll be in profit, but if it hits one of these, you know, like where the green stops and the red starts, right? Like that's where I would set up my lower limit and upper limits. And that way, if it stays within it, I'm good. But if it moves outside of it, I'm not. And then someone may ask, well, like, why don't you just reduce your range? Well, I'm also concentrating my liquidity more. So I actually take more in impermanent loss than if I just extended it out further and stop it sooner, if that makes sense. It's just some thoughts, some ideas I've been going through.
That definitely makes sense, and it's actually a very interesting tactic. I've seen it proposed a couple of times in our group. People use it. I think that it definitely makes sense. And like over time, so what you do is, okay, if you become safer, so like say, what do we have here? Like 3 days passed, right? Now we're way further in. So then you change the limit orders, or you just take the profit. You probably will take the profit, right? How long do you usually farm for? 3 days, right?
I farm as long as the chart tells me that I should be farming it. So, I mean, I'll leave it up for sometimes 12 hours and sometimes it's 5 days. You know, I mean, it just kind of depends, but it's somewhere in between there. I just closed out of 2 pulls today when I saw Sol moving up because it was pushing to the edges of my range. And so I wanted to still stay within profit. And then I don't currently have a pool active, but as I kind of wait and see what's about to happen, probably within the next hour or two, I'll set up another pool.
Well, let's set up 2 positions now for the audience and see like sort of maybe this time we'll give the token guy a chance to set up on my screen 2 positions, one long, one short. Just see your thinking around it. I think that everyone would love to see how we lose money on stream, or hopefully make some, right? So go ahead.
Are you suggesting that if I set it up, we're going to lose money? Is that what I just got out of that?
No. Or maybe make money because, you know, Jussy last stream, he told us that there's no way we're going down. This is bullish. And, you know, I sort of joined him with the hype, ended up just closing out on a bare minimum win. But
you actually wanted to go short, right? I think
we changed our mind.
I mean, it looks like we'll probably move up to the 132 to 133 range within the next 3 to 4 hours, but then we'll probably have a low end of 125 to 127 for like what I'd be looking for in the next 6 to 8 hours.
All right, so 130. So correct me if I'm wrong. 125 is So here, Sol USDC, or let me just spread this out. 125.
Yeah, you're looking at the 4 hour, which is why you've seen it like that. But you can move it to like a 1 hour or 15 minute.
Okay.
No, not even the 1 day.
There we go. All right.
Yep.
And at the top, and then the top we said.
Yeah, I'm looking at like 132.5.
Okay. So this is the range we're looking at that you want me to open.
Yep.
But if with the current price on the very top, that would mean that most of my composition would be in dollars. So like, if it does break out, I guess it's fine. Let's give it a try. Okay.
And the way that I would actually set this up is like I had mentioned before, I'd go slightly wider than this with my liquidity, but then I would set the stop losses at those.
Okay. Let's. Are we gonna go max leverage? I think max leverage is fun. We're gonna go with max leverage. Small
I don't know. Am I
position.
setting it up or are you?
Okay, you're right. You're right. I'll give it to you. Okay,
I
let's
want to
do it.
do 3x leverage.
All right.
Because when you
Okay.
increase your leverage, basically, like to me, leverage is based on my risk of what I'm setting up. It's based on my confidence in what I'm seeing, right? So, like, for instance, if I saw something that looked really, really good and I thought it was definitely going to go down or definitely going to go up, then it would make sense for me to have 5x leverage because I'm basically betting on myself. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. It makes sense. Whereas the more unsure I am, the less leverage that I should do, if that makes sense, right? Because, like, I'm essentially saying I feel like this is a riskier setup that I'm doing. And so therefore I need to lower my leverage, or, hey, I feel like this is less risky. I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen. So I can go 5x leverage. So it really just depends. But I would say with the current market, I like being around 3x.
No, it makes sense. Makes total sense. Let's jump over to bar ratio. How do you see this? Are we going and like hoping that it'll go down? So like obviously because we said 124, so based off of your range, I would assume that
yeah, short term, I think it's going to go up, but long term, I think we'll see a little bit more on the downside. I would do only probably like a 0.4 short though. So on the borrow end. So yeah, I'd go up to like roughly, right up in there.
What is short term for you? Like, what does it mean for you personally? Short term.
I'm looking over the next like few days, like
Okay.
with as short as tonight for me, which would be like 8 hours from now, and as long as like by the end of the week, so like 3 days max. So I'd be looking to get it somewhere up in there. But the good thing is that if I'm correct on the directional bias, like I'll actually make money just off of the position moving. Like go to like 6 hours on the time range.
Right.
Just do like 6 hours because I like looking at worst case. See, look, if I'm correct on the directional side, then we're good, right? Like even if I don't earn any yield, but if I'm, but obviously the longer that I can stay in it, the better. And so I don't have like a certain time period I'm trying to stay in something. I just once it hits kind of a max profit situation for me, then I get out. So like if it's, let's say it goes up a little bit, then it goes down to like that 125 range I talked about, and then it comes back up and it hits that kind of middle part right there on the 127.5 mark. I'm just like, I've collected a decent amount of fees for a day or so. I'm like, I hit it spot on the direction. Like that's ideal. Like there's no need for me to then try to hold on to it longer to try to earn more fees when I'm probably going to end up maybe gaining some more fees, but losing out on the TVL because it's going to move away from what I would consider like the prime spot. You know what I mean? And so instead of doing that, all I'll do is I'll just close it out. And then I'll reset my mindset here and say, okay, now what do I think it's going to do? And I set up a new range, new pool, new directional bias to try to capture.
And even if it goes down now, like directly, like if it dips now, it's actually not a problem because you're a bit short.
Yeah. And I do think it's actually about to go up before it comes down, but I think overall it's going to come down. And so let's actually I'm not going to put the limit orders inside like I thought. This is a little bit of a tighter range. And we're actually too low. Go a little higher on the high side. Let's go. What did I think I said 32.5 is what I said. Which I like to play it. Let's just do 133. Do 133. I like to play it safe because we're looking at 3% on the 24-hour right there. So yeah, that's good. 2.84%. Hit the zoom out button. It'll fix the. There you go. Little trick. Yeah, that looks better.
How far do we want? So when you look at the graph, like how zoomed in do you look at? Like I like looking at it where, if I'm not, that's how you like to. I like to look at, well, most times I would actually do a very aggressive single directional bias. That's how I like to play it. You seem to like it more neutral. There's a few more guys that also pair it up with options. They like it more neutral, but I sort of like it. When I do single directional, I do, big zoom out. But when I do something like this, I like it close. I don't know, but you sort of like it this way, right?
One more in.
One more in. Okay.
Yeah, I like it like that.
All right. Limit orders. We said we're not putting any limit orders.
Well, do some limit orders. Just put them like outside of it instead. just in case, right? Because we
120
want to make
neutral.
sure if we're away, something happens, we're not losing out a bunch.
All right. We want to be converted
yeah.
to USDC, right?
Depends. On the high side, I'd probably actually have it into Sol.
Okay. So upper limit, Sol, and then lower limit, we have USDC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it, because you did say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
If it breaks above the 132, it's likely going to go higher than that, and so that means if I convert it into Sol, I'll actually make money off of Sol going up. Whereas if I convert it into USDC and then it ends up going up from there, I'll have to buy back in Sol higher. So I prefer it to be Sol on that side. And the same theory or logic is used on the downside for USDC to prevent any more loss. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I never actually use it that way. I do it like isolated environment. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm in dollars no matter what. But you're doing it in a more conservative way, where you're just allocating. You're trying to squeeze out a couple of %. And oh well, if I'm wrong, then I'm still getting exposure to the upside. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Auto compounding. Do we keep it on?
Oh yeah, for sure. Auto compounding, and I like to reduce my leverage personally, but again, it just depends on what your goal is. If I am doing like a 5x, then I almost always do reduce leverage. If I'm doing like a 2x, sometimes I'll keep the leverage because 2x isn't too bad. 3x currently, I would do reduce leverage because I'm still maintaining the same yield. Whenever I'm reducing leverage, I'm actually going more long. And so over time, like if the pool stays pretty solid, then I'd be okay with that, especially considering we're more short now. So I'll move more towards the neutral range than I will the downside, if that makes sense.
What do you think? Maybe you could explain very, very briefly what does actually mean reduce leverage or keep leverage?
Yeah, so if my leverage is 2x and I'm reducing my leverage, basically whenever you add back into it, so let's say I compound $20, well, that $20 will go back in only as $20, which means, let's say my leverage was 2x. So you're basically 1x of your asset and 1x of the borrowed asset. And so essentially you now would go from your 1x would now become, let's say 1.1x because you're adding directly into it. So your 1x is now more, but the leverage is still that was the 1x of the original. And so it's actually less now. And so over time, if you compound and compound, what you'll do is the leverage you started with, the dollar amount, let's say it was $100, that'll still be there, but your position, your collateral is now increasing. So it reduces your overall leverage from 2x to 1.9, 1.8, 1.7, whatever on the way down. Whereas if you keep leverage, let's say you did a 2x and you put $20 in, you compound $20 back in. Well, whatever your leverage was, if it was 2x, you would also borrow that 20. So you'd be putting it in and borrowing it the same to keep the leverage the same. If you were at 5x and you compounded 20, well, now you'd be borrowing 100 to keep up with the 5x leverage.
Okay, so we reduce leverage and we create this position. So let's go and give it a try.
That sounded good, Moty?
Yeah.
Price already went a bit up, I think. So actually,
let me see.
I guess
we opened the position anyway.
Yeah.
It's about.
I think we had like
0.99,
and now
it's close. Well, yeah. It's definitely going up in the short term. I think up to the 132.5 range, and then I think we'll. It could go higher too. That's the hard part.
All right, we have a position open. These are our parameters. It lives here on the bottom. Current P&L 2 cents down. Debt, all the good stuff showing. I don't like putting this here, so I'm gonna remove it. I honestly don't like things that I don't need to look at.
Yep.
I think so. Collateral shows here as well, but this is general collateral for all the positions. So, it's already going down a little bit, right?
We made money. Close it out. Always take profit. Oh, see, I told you.
All right, and then let's open another one. So this one is sort of like the what did we say? We said this one's sort of neutral, but leaning more towards the buy to the downside. Are we gonna open one more position?
Someone else wanna head this one up?
Fabiano, you got this one. So let's go for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually share the opinion that we go maybe down in like, I don't know, like in a few hours or maybe tomorrow. So personally, if I would open a position now, I would just, I mean, my strategy is normally I choose a pretty tight range, and I have, or I think even if the price is outside of the range, it's fine because I just want to print as much as possible if like the price goes through my range, and that's working actually pretty good so far. And so what I would do now is actually go semi-short as well. I would maybe, yeah, I don't know like how the price will move like during the next hours, but I would definitely go short, and I would go more leverage as well.
All right. We still
But
need to give me some values.
yeah, I think what could be interesting as well that we, wait, let me think. Let me see for myself. Let me click. Maybe we can answer the question that we have. Like,
Yeah, Moty, you can't enter at 1x right now, can you?
1x? I can, yeah.
Oh, you can. So if you compound, nothing's going to happen as far as like the leverage side of things, right? Does it still ask you if you want to keep leverage? How does that work? Like, does it, or does it just assume that you're,
Here.
you know? Okay, so yeah, so it just doesn't pop out. It just shows auto compounding.
That we actually spoke about it today and we fixed it today because I sat down. I'm like, hey guys, what does it mean to? You have no leverage. Imagine you don't have leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it mean to reduce leverage or increase leverage? Like, what is that?
Yeah,
Bogus
it
bogus.
doesn't make sense. You just compound. So if you had $1,000, you added 20, now you have 1,020. It's just normal compounding like you would have in any LP. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool that y'all are basically offering, the 1x. You don't even have to use leverage to be able to use the tools that y'all have. That's really cool.
We want to get to a place where it's just more comfortable to use us. And I mean, what do we charge? We charge a 1/10 on top. So like we charge, if you open a $10,000 position, not even 50 cents.
Yeah.
But what you get is, you can suddenly add leverage or whatever. Well, we're getting to that stage. Rebalancing, all the beautiful features, limit orders, compounding. Want to get to a stage where a user feels more comfortable using our portals and with all the future integrations, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I made my thoughts.
All right, let's give it to me.
I think, or I would do like, I think like the upper limit would be like, or like the end of the range on one side would be like 132.46. I have it now in front of me. And then I would have on the other side around like 126. And I will
looks like you're copying me, Fabiano.
Yeah, but
it really does.
No, but I would just go like really, really short, like 0.16.
I got it. I got it.
Even a bit more. So my thing is actually, I mean, yeah, it looks a bit like copying. I agree, but yeah, my thing is like, if I think it could go down directly, so I'm already like in a profit. And if the price goes up like above like 131 maybe, and stays a bit there, so I already get the fees because I would be like in a loss there right now, right? If the price goes up. So that's just like to de-risk a bit, I think. And on the other side, I think it could go down like pretty fast as well. I think maybe over the next days it could go down to like 124, 125 again. So I would just go a bit more aggressive, like short. So
with the short.
Yeah.
So
like
would this be
yeah,
like
full short right there.
Yeah, maybe not full short, like 0.1, yeah, more 1.6, I think, like between 75 and 100%, I think. Yeah, around that.
Okay. And what's interesting here is like for 24 hours of borrowing this 12 Solana, you're paying $1, and here you're paying 14 cents. Very, very minimal. And this is all applied in the math here. So This is just the extra that we get.
Mm.
So are we opening limit orders? We're not, right? Just in case here, upper limit, USDC,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And if we go lower, I would also set. I would also set a limit order, and
All right, and take profit limit order, right? 126 is what
yeah.
we're looking for.
Exactly, because you never know. Like when you're sleeping and the price bounces back, and
Right.
you were actually quite good, or you had like quite good profits, and then it's a bit annoying to see in the
Are we
morning that
compounding?
you actually had. Yeah, I always do. Yeah, but I keep the leverage normally.
Okay. Full degen. I like it. It sounds crazy. So the current price is 131. We're keeping leverage 5x. Yeah, all the good stuff.
Yeah, but
Right,
Token Guy
It is
was
going up in the short term.
Yeah, it was like a really good call actually. Like it already pumped like $1, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to come back up to this 132.5. If it breaks above that, I would just close out of my pool because it's probably going to go higher. It's actually shooting up to that 132, so we'll see. Yeah, it's tough because like as I'm reading stuff, like I'll make adjustments. Like I might even close out of my pool. Like if I'm looking at it and I'm like, actually, I think it's going to do something. Like maybe I was right, but it's more drastic than I thought, or I'm a little bit off. Like I'll just close out of my pool and make a new one, if needed. Just kind of depending on what I set up, or I'll be comfortable with kind of what you said, Fabiano, where it's like I'm okay. I'll remove my limit order, and it's like okay, I was a little bit long. I mean, a little bit wrong, but I'm like I don't want it to hit my limit order. I still think like I'm right over the next like day or two, but maybe I was a little wrong as far as like how high it would go before it comes back down. And so if that's the case, then maybe I need to remove. So like click on mine. Let me see where the limit order was.
So yours is the three leverage here. We put the limit order 134.
Yeah. So basically what I would be doing is I'd look for that 132.5 range. And if it like broke above that, like probably if it hit like 133, then I would just close out of the pool, or I would remove the limit. I would watch it and remove the limit, kind of depending again on what I thought it was going to do. Because it's created like 133 is kind of a medium like resistance. It's kind of sitting right around that like resistance line. And so, but like my MACD is showing that it looks like it might go up more.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So like which I thought this was going to happen. I just didn't know like how drastic it would be. Like the chart was definitely showing this. And so, yeah, it's tough. We'll see.
I do wonder.
We could see a larger. We're kind of getting a little bit of a flagpole action here. Yeah,
definitely. This looks very, very strong on the hourly, especially the fact that there's this wick. There's a lot of liquidity here, and I probably would imagine they'd be looking to offload it much higher up.
Yeah, I agree. So like what I would probably do here is close out of my DeFi tuna pool. So like
okay, let's.
It's not only like the limit order. I would actually just close out of it.
Swapping to Sol, right?
You can do that's fine. Yeah, swap to Sol. Yeah, because I think we're actually about to see it break above the 133. Like it. So like normally what I do is I don't make a decision until it breaks above a certain spot that I'm looking at. But in this instance, we're seeing like a pretty strong move up, signifying that it's like very likely to happen. Like it's a pretty big candle. And so then I would open up a new pool and I would basically do the same thing I just did. I would just give it much more upside than I did. So that I'm staying within range. And so like Fabiano, I get what you're saying, like let it leave out of range. But I'm like, all right, what is the fee cost to like close it and open a new pool? Is it worth it to do that? Or is it worth it to just wait and hold? And so I guess that's the question. I'm not very sure. But I think for me, I feel more comfortable setting it up. And honestly, in this instance, I'd probably go closer to delta neutral than I even was before. I think we were 0.4 short, but I'd probably go closer to delta neutral because I think where it's moving up now, if it does break above this range, it's likely to go higher. And then like it probably will come back down. But like how far down, I'm not sure. And because now that it's broken above, I think it creates a new range that's higher than the previous. And so that 125, 126 range that I was looking at before kind of becomes a little bit obsolete as it moves up here. So we swapped to Sol out of that. And since we swapped to it, it's already moved up like another like 30 or 40 cents
Yeah.
since that happened. And I think it's going to go up higher. The MACD is actually showing that it's still reversing. This is actually just the start of the pump. And so
Yeah.
I would like swap that out and try to capture the upside. And if you wanted to be like a perp trader here, we could even show that if you want to, Moty, where you're like, all right, I don't even need to be in range. Let's set it up to where it's actually catching it just to the high side.
Yeah.
And
So
do a short-term trade.
What I would do here is I'd probably look for something like medium-term trade. So obviously the current to borrow at DeFi Tuna is really, really cheap. So like you can afford to go 3x and greedy perp trade. I would be looking at something like this, to be honest. Now this would be like a medium-term trade, and I'd look to start providing liquidity at somewhere where I think that like it'll, somewhere here between these two price points. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd start farming liquidity here. So what I would do is I'd just put a range here on DeFi Tuna, and then I would borrow fully dollars, and those dollars get converted to Solana, and they're placed here in this range. And then my limit order is here. So if the price actually goes through, I get closed out. I take my profit. I return the dollars. I keep the difference, but I do farm liquidity here. I think this can be an interesting range, to be honest. 151 and 170. So let's open this up.
151 to 170.
Yeah.
For Solana?
Yeah.
But like what time frame?
Medium, like 2 weeks. Honestly, I think.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking about like a few days. I was like, bro, we're not gonna hit 170 in a few days, Moty. That'd be insane. Unless Trump tweets again and something crazy happens.
No, you're definitely right. But this is a type of like, if leverage is cheap, and currently it's very, very cheap, I could afford to do something like that. And I'd go for like 5 times leverage. I'd borrow fully dollars, and here this is a type of position. So like I'm depositing $80 in this case, right? 5 times leverage, all of it is being borrowed in dollars. My daily cost for leverage is 20 cents, right? And then like once I start spending time here, then I'm farming liquidity, but anyway, I'll be in profit at that stage as well. Auto compounding, probably want to reduce leverage. Yeah, limit orders, probably not. No. I made a mistake. I probably want to have a limit order. I want to have it upper limit order as 170. Take profit, and I take profit in dollars, because then I think that like we're going to be cooling off if it does get there. There we go. And that's sort of like that's usually how I do it. My trades, obviously it's it's different kind. Like this is like a exaggeration, but maybe we'll get there. I don't know. It just feels like we spent enough time in this range, honestly.
Yeah, and
either
then
we go down.
You just leave it open for a few days or until it like reaches.
I'd leave it open until like I get invalidation, and my invalidation would be something like this.
Okay.
On here, at this price point, but it looks like this is faking out a little bit. So, we might have just had like somebody just snipe you out there, Fabiano. Your stream is too popular. Yeah.
I really don't know. Yeah. What is the yield for if you will go like, or I can check by myself.
What are we, by the way, what is it on on our lending rates right now for CBBTC? I wonder.
It's pretty cheap. I think it's like lending is like 5, and I think borrow is
5%.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. This morning it was 10%. So there's open interest fell. So like somebody closed a very sizable position. I guess they're on the wrong side of the trade because the APY did fall. But Solana and USDC are holding strong at 10%.
Yep. That's really good. That's really good. I mean, like if you do like on Camino or any other place, I think it's like 6%, if I'm not wrong. I think around that. I mean, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, it is a huge difference. Price looks to be a little bit stale here, so I wonder where all of this is going. Yeah, so I think it's just all about letting it play out now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
Did we see all the questions? I think someone asked for a chart, like trading view charts. If you could integrate something like that. Like
Yeah, that
Alex
was just
actually.
Alex. Don't worry about him. No, I'm just kidding.
With the trading, yeah.
Yeah, is it something that you want to integrate, or like is there maybe just no space from the UI perspective?
Yeah, with the trading view chart, it's not very hard to integrate. We're very we really want to integrate it, but there's just a few priorities. When it comes to trading view, as you guys know, Bird's Eye, they offer a package where you get a lot of their data, and you just plug in the APIs, and it's very simple to get it started. There does need to be like limit orders drawn on the chart and stuff like that, but overall not a big headache. And we're just looking, by the way, Alex, to see whether we want to be storing the database ourselves or just plugging into the API. One is more scalable solution and a better, more scalable solution than the other. You know, it's always nice to host your own data. So, is it possible to participate anyhow as a software developer? Well, currently we don't have any open space for us to onboard anyone onto our team, and we are very protective over who we bring close to us because code, as we know, is very precious. And Bybit, for example, right? the Bybit hack or some of the other hacks, ledger leaks, you know, it's a dangerous world we live in, and we don't want to expose our code.
I understand that. I think did we have this one?
When auto balancing on DeFi Tuna? Very soon. I would imagine another 2-3 weeks we should have it. The only reason it was held up is because we did ask for a small upgrade on the contract side of Orca in order to make cleaner code and the execution just easier.
Cool. I'm just looking at the chart. I think we are at like 133.45. So I think token guys so far so good. Like impressive call so far. Need to see like how it goes the next few hours, but so far it looks actually good. And it seems like there is some resistance there, I guess. So from just looking at the chart.
Yeah, it looks like to me it's broken above that kind of resistance of which wasn't like a huge resistance, but it was definitely like a short-term local one for me when looking at it. So I personally set up a short-term long from 132.5 to 137. And I did it almost full long, like 0.9. I always try to like set up my long or short based on my range, right? So if I'm 0.5 down and I'm like 8% up, well, that's roughly 90%, right? Difference. So I did like a 0.9 long. And so, yeah, like for a moment, it kind of dipped just a little bit closer to that 132.5, and then it's like come up pretty good. And so, yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good right now. Even if, you know, I'm up $30. I put in 6,700, and I actually did 4x because again, I felt more confident in this. And so I've made $10 just in the yield because I'm earning 9%, 9.27% on the 24 hour because this is a tighter range and I'm going just long. So I'm earning a lot, and I'm directionally, it's doing well. So now I'm actually up $53 total with $11 in yield within like a few minutes. So like I could close this out and make $60 just like that, you know, or I can hold it a little bit longer and you know, and see where it goes. So yeah,
that's the crazy thing of DeFi Tuna.
Yeah, I get the benefit. It's like a hybrid, you know, like you can use it just to LP like normal, but you could also do it like instead of doing perpetual longs, this is like a less risky way to do that, kind of a hybrid model of like LPing and longing, shorting at the same time. That I think is really, really cool. Always like the idea of LPing, similar to like I like the idea of trading, right? Like buying and selling, but it's hard because if you're ever a little bit off, it just always felt like you were losing. Like if you got it right, you'd win. But if you were just a little bit off, whereas with like, you know, any sort of LPing, it was nice that I could give like a range in which I thought I was right and I would earn and kind of be good all the way through that. So it feels similar here in that I can LP, I can be good within the range. And then at the same time, I can earn fees. Yeah, I'm already up over $100 now, $120 on the P&L because it's just shooting up.
It's pumping crazy.
And that's what I was saying. If it broke above that 132.5, it was looking like we would see it upwards of potentially 137. I don't know if it's going to go that high, but potentially will go that high. But
Because
the next resistance, I think it breaks off of, which is that 137.
My long is printing. Yeah, it's
you called it. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
it's already 3% up.
Yeah, guys, we're like 1 hour in, I think. Was cool that you both joined, Moty and Token Guy. Maybe we can do this again, like every week or whatever it fits for you.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Definitely, like really cool, and I guess people really learn this way. I think if they see what we are doing or what you guys are doing, 100%.
And I enjoy having Token Guy at this time because he does have completely different outlook. I mean, even the way he explains his logic, I haven't really put limit orders within my range. Makes sense. It's very nice ideas.
100%. Super interesting to like see different people use different strategies. 100%.
Yeah, and I try to stay flexible, you know, with like what I'm doing. I think the biggest thing is actually what we just showed here is that I was okay being wrong, like in the short term, or like being like not necessarily wrong, but not as right, you know? And so instead of sitting, like it would have hit my upper limit order or it would be pretty close to it right now. And so that's why I was like, we either need to remove that or close out the pool. And then I did a new pool, set it up. It's really good. But I still think my long-term of what I was thinking is going to happen. So after I gain some profit off of the short-term pump, then I'll swap back and essentially set up what I had done before, but just now with, you know, a little bit of a wider range because obviously we're more on the upside than we were before. But I think being flexible is important, not being prideful about like maybe getting something wrong, being flexible about that I think is good. But yeah, I love doing this with y'all. I think it's really cool to see all the different ideas. I feel like I've learned even from y'all's different opinions and strategies. So it's definitely cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. Have a good one. I think Token Guy, you're based in the US, right? So it's just morning for you.
2 in the evening, but yeah.
2 in the evening. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, thanks for joining. Have a good one, and Moty, good night. I think for you as well.
Yeah, good night, guys. And Token Guy, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for joining, and Fabiano, thank you for hosting.
Good night, guys.
Of course. Bye bye. See you.
Bye bye.